I want you to officially hear it from me. You're not 35 yet. That's part of your future, turning 35. And I'm not 35. I was 35. I'm almost 38. But looking back, I can see certain changes that seem to happen to most men at age 35, and I'm making this video to prepare you for that. So here they are. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you what they are, and then we're gonna look into the details of it. Your hair, your body weight, and your emotional intelligence. And that last one already doesn't sound interesting, does it? To me, it's the most important one, but we'll get to it. We'll work our way. We'll start with the one that guys are obsessed with by default the most, the thing that they fear the most out of those three things, and that is hair loss, male pattern baldness. Hairline goes, it goes back, it goes up, it starts getting thinner. You may start noticing it getting thinner in the back. Male pattern baldness. Some guys go their whole life and never lose any hair. Some are noticeably balding by the time they're 20. And it's just like a lottery and you don't know really what's gonna happen. You speculate all this about it. Here's why 35 though is a very interesting and important age when it comes to male pattern baldness. Because age 35 typically is the age in which you will be able to look at yourself and see, am I going to be balding the rest of my life or not? And here's how you know. At age 35, you look at your hairline. Do you have a hairline? I, in theory, barely have a hairline. The only real hairline I have is really right here. And then from there, it starts going back and kind of getting rounded off and vague. I have the appearance of a hairline, but really this is my only hairline that really exists. If that's you, or you have less than that by age 35, you're gonna be balding the rest of your life. It may be slowly, but you will be balding the rest of your life. But if by the age of 35, you still have a very obvious, distinct hairline, even if it goes up, it's okay if it goes up, but as long as it's got sharp corners in it and you can see those corners and you don't see that you're thinning, then you're gonna be the kind of guy that for the rest of your life is gonna hold on to most of your hair. Maybe worst case scenario, you may start having a noticeable bald spot in your 50s or something like that, but for the most part, you should be fine. Age 35 determines that for you. That's why in many of my hair loss videos, I tell everybody, look at a photo of yourself at age 1. That's often a projection of what your hair looks like at age 35. That's a thing I figured out and have been talking about, and I've made videos about it and showed how it was true for me when I was 35. So at age 35, you get a good idea if you're gonna be a guy who's balding the rest of your life or not. And while that sounds bad, I'm gonna loop the last thing back to this in a minute. So remind me, don't let me forget, I need to come back to that point. All right, second thing, your metabolism changes. So I became a vegan, I guess when I was around 32, and I remained a vegan for 5.5 years. I only stopped being a vegan a couple months ago, actually. And the first half, leading up to 35, I immediately lost all this weight. I was the leanest I'd ever been. Even I think since before high school even. And I loved it. I was like, wow, I'm satisfied, I'm getting enough food. And as far as my weight, I was 31, 32 was my pant size. It was great. Like, wow, I'm slim, I love this. But when I hit 35, things changed. And suddenly my weight started going back to what it was before I was a vegan. So before I started vegan, I guess it was like 170, and that was in the 170, 173, 174, 75, somewhere like that. But when I became a vegan, I got all the way down to 156. So I really lost a lot of weight being a vegan. But after I hit 35, then my weight started going back up. Even though I was eating the same stuff and still exercising and running and mountain biking and doing all this stuff, I started gaining the weight back. Which is ultimately why a couple months ago I stopped being a vegan. Because I realized, well, hey, if maybe being a vegan's hurting because I'm not getting enough of the right kind of protein and depending too much on sugars. And so now I've started working out and I've changed my diet accordingly. In theory, maybe even eating healthier than I was as a vegan in some ways by cutting out a lot of the sugar and stuff like that. So hopefully I'll slim down those 5 pounds that I want to. If I can just get down 5 pounds, I can fit into most of my pants again. Right now I'm at a 171-ish, somewhere around there. So at 5'9", I'm kind of right there on the cusp of technically being overweight if you're looking at the BMI scale. So that tends to kick into gear where basically at age 35 and after, you have to proactively be involved in some kind of workout and have some kind of format to your diet. Because if you keep eating fast food and not working out, you're just going to keep gaining weight every year. And I am determined not to be that guy. So here I am, almost 38, and I'm getting really serious about making changes as far as that goes. Now the last thing, the thing that you don't care about, but that matters the most in this video. And it's okay if you just want to turn off the video now, it's fine. I'll give you a second, go ahead. All right, I still have a couple of you still watching, okay, good. So this is the most important thing, but all those other guys already tuned out. They just wanted to know about the superficial stuff. This is the thing that matters the most. So embrace it. Emotional intelligence, or EQ, emotional intelligence. A lot of people are caught up in something so superficial. IQ, how intelligent are you? If you do a test on math or science, how well will you do? Are you smart enough to be a lawyer? Are you smart enough to be a doctor? They focus on that. But in reality, that's not how the world actually works. Because in reality, you get further in life if you are emotionally intelligent. And that's, for me, at age 35, and I think for a lot of guys, enough of the life starts coming together where they realize, wow, how many years of my life did I worry about other people, things that they've said or done that emotionally affected me because I let it. You get to 100% control your own emotions, but most people refuse to realize that and utilize that. Most people. It is a breaker switch. Are you going to let people offend you, disrespect you, hurt your feelings? Because it's always a choice 100% of the time. No matter what anybody says to me, I don't have to be offended. For me, I have to choose to be offended. But most people are the opposite. Most people, they allow themselves to be offended by default, and they'd have to choose not to. But something that happens for a lot of men around age 35 is you start realizing it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Why should I give other people emotional control over me? Why don't I control my own emotions instead? Who cares if they disrespect me, say something bad about me, or talk to me in a way that's rude, or flip me off in the interstate? Who cares? Why would I let my blood pressure change over that? How silly. And another proof of emotional intelligence is you're not trying to prove people wrong anymore. You're not going on YouTube channels and trying to debate with people, no, you're wrong. When you say no, you're wrong, it proves that you're not emotionally intelligent. Because when you're emotionally intelligent, you're very aware of identity protective cognition. And that is when someone has a strong belief and you try to tell them otherwise, all you're doing is just confirming what they already believe. So it's actually backfiring on you instantly. So for me, I'm not here to change people's minds. A lot of the stuff I talk about on my videos, I'm like, here's what I believe, but you don't have to believe it. Just say whatever you want to in the comments. Because that's the thing. It doesn't matter to me if people agree with me. In fact, I live my life assuming I'm wrong half the time. Because chances are, if nothing else, I have one perspective that to me is truth. But to other people, maybe they're actually right. I just can't see it from their perspective yet. So I'm right for what I see as truth, but I haven't considered that, well, for everybody though, this is actually how it works. So I'm aware of things like that. These are the things that get you further in life when you are emotionally intelligent. And I've actually read articles talking about how people who are emotionally intelligent actually make more money than people who have higher IQs. Now, I can tell you, for me, absolutely yes. Since I have increased my emotional intelligence, I am not kidding, I'm not making this up. The amount of money I now make in my late 30s compared to what I made in my early 30s, and it's not just because I'm further along and have more experience, it's because I've learned how to navigate people. As far as relationships with people, I've understand how to be more in connection with what their expectations and what motivates them. Because when you stop letting other people control your emotions, in a way, you can understand how other people are inspired by their own emotions and all that, and you can kind of get ahead of that so that you are the right person at the right time to do the thing that they need, and you help them out, and therefore they have more respect for you. But this whole thing, no, you're wrong, that doesn't cause anyone to respect you. See, when you're younger, you want people to respect you, so you're trying to prove people wrong all the time. When you get my age, you're trying to find out what you agree with people on and the common ground, because that builds the relationship and it opens doors and it provides better opportunities for you. Going back to the hair loss thing though, at age 35, what happens is you start realizing things like hair loss, it doesn't actually give you value in life. It's very superficial. And so the more emotionally intelligent you are, the less you care about petty stuff like that, because you realize as you get older in life, it's more about building your future. How am I going to make a living? How am I going to be successful at that? How am I going to be successful in my marriage? I mean, I've been married 10 and a half years. Things like that. It's not just because I'm a good guy. No, it's because I'm emotionally intelligent, and that's what life does to you. It forces you to have these responsibilities that makes or breaks you. And that's why by age 35, that emotional intelligence thing often kind of kicks into gear. About the time you start noticeably losing your hair or gaining weight. So there you go. Those are 3 things that tend to happen to men at age 35 that no one else is really talking about and being cohesive and tying them all together. I would love to talk more about this if the free market allows it. And that's based on how many people watch this video and leave comments. That tells me if this video is relevant. If not, I'll go back to the same old stuff I usually talk about. You be the judge. Comments right here.